Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
And now, 2 of the top 12 commandments for senior citizens. Number 1, talk to yourself. There are times you need expert advice. And number 2, you don't need anger management. You just need people to stop making you mad. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America. Followed by a Patriot. Come on, Patriots, don't let me down. Call in with the Pledge of Allegiance. And a good morning to you and yours. I'm Zeb Bell, sitting in the studio of Zeb at the Ranch, and of course brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. The very, very best, all 7 locations, serving you with the best of tires and, of course, service. And don't forget, too, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, sir. And right now, the weather brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 West of Hayburn on the Burley-Paul Highway. You can't miss them. They've got the best of tools and equipment for any kind of a job you need to finish. And if you're not sure what kind of tools and equipment you need for both long and short-term rental, just call Roger and find out more. They do have all the equipment you need, excavators, and they got all the water pumps. They've got everything over there for you. Believe me, look at their front yard. K&R Rental, Burley-Paul Highway, 678-3122. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Welcome back to another work week and the last day in November, and weather going to feel a little winter-ish. We are expecting a slight chance of snow showers by later this afternoon, but it is going to be mostly sunny skies, expecting a high of 46. Those snow showers could last through early this evening. They're going to be tapering off overnight. We are expecting a low right around 23. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, high of 36, with an overnight low of 16. By Wednesday, pretty much the same, sunny and 36. That's look at your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
I've got 19 degrees outside right now. A little chilly. K&R Rental brings you the weather. Again, they're located right smack dab on the Burley-Paul Highway. You can't miss them. Call them today for any questions you have about any and all the equipment you need, like I said, for both long and short-term rental. The best serving you. K&R Rental, 678-3122. Caller, we'll be right there. You know the drill, so stand by. I also want to remind you, hey, you've got a lot of things going on the next couple of weeks, and you should have a lot of things going on the next couple of weeks, because I don't want anybody to hibernate and just stay home. Believe me, that's not going to cut the cake, and we're going to talk more about that later this morning. But I urge you to take your clothes and to be cleaned and ready for the holiday, Christmas, and New Year's season at Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Absolutely the best at what they do. Dry cleaning, why, I'm telling you, it prolongs the life of your clothes, and you're going to look sharp. Absolutely. Daryl's Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. You stop in and see Kevin and Cindy today. These are such nice people serving you. And when I mention really, really nice people, I also have to talk about our dear friends over at Ramsey Heating and Electric, and they're at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Now, they get there 7:30 in the morning till 5, Monday through Friday. And it's true, they have underline that word, all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs, and they know what to do to help you. Very experienced staff, and they've been in business now 7 decades serving you. Ramsey Heating and Electric. 678-0459. You call or stop in and see them today. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, good morning, Zeb.
Good morning.
For years now, you've been telling us that you're not going to report anything that you did not know was factual. And the thing that I want to bring up this morning is this mail-in voting. You've been against it from the very beginning, and you're absolutely right. It's cost us the election of the President of the United States. Not going to be, and if we're not careful, it's going to be the demise in Georgia.
Yeah. There's nobody, there's no politician, there's nobody that's ever going to get me to back up and advocate mail-in voting. I mean, they can, I honestly anticipate, and I'm going to give you a little cloak and dagger here. I think that with the Biden administration, there's going to be a kind of a shutdown of a lot of our free speech, starting with talk show hosts and everything else. And if we don't fall in lockstep with the loony left, we're going to be taken off the air mysteriously. And I will never advocate for mail-in balloting. I did it one time. This is true. I did it one time and one time only for the last Idaho primary that was kind of a hurry-up, catch-up deal. I will never advocate mail-in balloting again.
And I don't blame you. But, there's so many things that have made people dishonest because of this.
Yeah.
Let's take our post people. The postman that delivers your mail every day. Now, I don't think we have that problem so much in Idaho, but it started out with one person was on the take, and then it was then 100, and then 1,000, and then who knows where it went from there.
Yeah.
But some of these postmen were destroying these ballots.
Well, they not only destroying, but they have many, many stories about adding to or supplementing or opening ballots up, and then they were marked with just the president's choice on the ballot, none of the others, which they knew was kind of fictitious and fraud. There's so many things that can and will and have been done to make illegalities out of mail-in balloting. You are, not you, Keith, but nobody out there is going to try to change my mind.
Well, let's just all remember that honesty is the best policy, and the Democrats have forgot how to spell honesty.
No, I think you're 100% right. Well, it's not them, it's a movement. It's a clandestine movement that absolutely is out to overthrow and turn over America into the realms of a third world country. Keith, God bless you. I appreciate your candid remarks this morning. Thank you and have a great day.
You do the same.
All right.
And give your wife a big hug.
I will. Thank you very much. I want to remind everybody about Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. Oh, the food. That's what you'll do is go, whoa, is this ever good? Delicious. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, anytime, all the time. And right now they've got the turkey dinners and the delicious pies, and they've got all your breakfast choices and your lunch choices and your dinner choices and all the desserts. Oh, my goodness, this is at America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, and another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Don't forget, the best at Denny's Restaurant. I get a chance. This is making me feel good right now. Merry Christmas. Yes, sirree, Bob. Hold on, caller. I'm a-coming. Some of our great sponsors and advertisers that want to wish you a very Merry Christmas include Mountain Transmissions at 1146 East Main in Burley. Hello, Rick. I'm telling you, this guy's got more than 30 years in the industry, and he knows transmissions. He wishes you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Mountain Transmissions. Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair at 635 21st Street in Hayburn. This is a good old boy, emphasis on old, and he says always remember the true meaning of the season, and remember the senior centers too. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair. And a dear friend of this program, and what a help to the state of Idaho, Senator Kelly Anthon, District 27, says he is so grateful to serve the Minicash area. Lots of good people, lots of good friends, and he appreciates all of his constituents. Wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. The menu at the Barley Senior Center is turkey pot pie and all of the trimming to make it a great lunch.
Well, it sounds good, Joe, and if they want to call ahead at the Senior Center and order lunch and go pick it up, what do they do?
Just call 208-678-7866. No, that's my number. We don't. I don't serve lunch. I even forgot the number.
Well, let me throw a number at you out of memory and see if I'm right. Is it 678-8646?
646. That's correct.
Okay. I just thought I'd jump in the swimming pool and help you a little bit. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right. God bless you. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Joe Taylor. Good guy right there. Caller, good morning to you.
Good morning. Well, your comment about this plan to make us a third world country, that's been going on for decades. And now the Democrats really and the media use the Saul Alinsky model. You know, you divide the country more. We're more divided now, and they're out there saying, well, we've got to unite, behind Biden. There's not going to be any unite thing. You got Barack Obama out there still beating up on Trump, beating up on all of us deplorable Bible-thumping gun people that believe in our Constitution. And but the whole thing is they demonize anybody that opposes that agenda, and of course they just make it up if the first two doesn't work.
I will say this, Adrian. I want to go back to the first part of your dissertation. I absolutely stand behind this statement, and I want to see if you agree. This is not a Biden-Harris administration. This is the third term of an Obama administration.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about it, yeah. And you can go back, well, at least to the 50s, where there was Norman Dodds was selected by the Reese Committee, the Congressional Reese Committee, to check out why the foundations, tax-free foundations, were supporting Marxist communist causes. And so he went to H. Roland Gaither of the Ford Foundation, and this was in the early 50s, and he asked him, and off the record, Gaither said, well, we're under directives to so alter life that we can basically become a third world country. This is in the 50s, 60 years ago.
Yeah.
And so this is nothing new. The problem is now we better be waking up. They've taken over all of our education, and really the solution is get back to the Constitution and get Common Core out of the... I wish everybody would get hold of Lance Clow, and in the legislature, he's the chairman, and anybody that's on that education committee, there's about 20 of them. And so we need to get Common Core out of here, get some pro-American, back to the founders education, information.
Absolutely.
That would be the way to, at least, because the kids are coming out of the school now, they have no comprehension.
Well, let me jump in here a little bit because I got to get a commercial in, but I want to tell you this: you're spot on with education. And when I look at the thousands upon thousands upon thousands of kids that are dropping out of school because of this being online education not working, it's absolutely ridiculous. Adrian, I appreciate your remarks. I got to get some commercials in. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, and it's really sad, and there's so much misinformation on, basically all up and down the line. And so, anyway, keep up the fight. I hope you had a nice Thanksgiving. I did too. I came back from Iceberg. I renamed Rexburg, and it was slick up there. We had 2 inches of snow, and it was icy cold. And this is the banana belt. We don't have many bananas, but compared to
I agree.
Some places over there in the east part of the state, it is a tropical paradise.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much, Adrian. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful week. Thank you very much. Want to remind everybody about Dino Septic Service. Oh, they are the best at what they do, and they've got the most modern of equipment. They got all those cameras that go down through the pipes and everything and say, voila, here is the problem. Absolutely. Septic tank pumping, septic tank and drain fields installed, backhoe services, liquid waste removal, sewer and sink drain lines cleaned, everything by people that really know and care about you, and they understand their business. Let me tell you, Dino Septic Service, 436-6526 or 678-1638, and Twin Falls, 735-8281. The best, yep, you got it. Dino Septic Service with the big truck that says, smells cargo on the way. Want to remind you, too, quickly, before we take some more calls, and I'm going to get into some other subjects here, your home is the one place where everything should be perfect, including your air. Ramsey Heating and Electric helps you achieve the perfect air you deserve with reliable, groundbreaking, award-winning Lennox products. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric and get a Lennox home comfort system that'll help improve your health. Yep, call them 678-0459. Almost said the wrong number. Don't do that. 678-0459 or visit ramseysonline.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for the details. Calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give us a call. There are so many things that are happening leading up to the potential possible inauguration of Joe Biden. Again, I'm going to be a little tentative and not just all of a sudden give him the coronation. But I'm really, really concerned about things that are happening and may happen right after this man takes office on January 21st. He wants and probably will repeal a lot of the absolute good things and items that Donald Trump and his administration have done and put into force. I am very concerned about Biden and Harris, which, again, I don't give them much credit of anything because I don't think they're smart enough. I think this is going to be a directive of Barack Obama himself. The energy independence that we enjoy and love now with lower prices, and at least all of us can try to work into budgets. The average right now is $2.13 a gallon for gas across the United States. Yeah, you're going to get your peaks and valleys, but it's pretty close to that. But you can bet your little teddy bears that a year from now, under a Biden-Harris administration, again led by the nose by Obama, we will be looking at, and I made this prediction the other day, and I knew it, a bunch of loons tried to get online or on my cell phone and tell me how goofy I was. I honestly think a year from today, we will be looking at over $4 a gallon. And seniors and people on fixed incomes are just absolutely going to be devastated. I think that this administration will totally mess up anything and everything that has been done, said, and used to stymie North Korea. I think that the mollycoddling of China will take place, and we're going to end up owing the company store to China. I don't trust them, never did. I think that we're going to see a complete mess, especially with people involved in the cabinet like John Kerry. Oh my, there's a clown looking for a circus. The mess up with the Middle East agreement. Things were going very well. NATO was coming to the table and paying their fair share. And that hasn't been done since Hector lost his cat. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous that Biden is absolutely going to go over there and say, oh, come on, boys, we'll change everything. Iran is going to be bought off. And border security will be none. I don't trust this administration, and those are just a few points. I mean, there's so many more that I could get into. There's one I'm going to get into next hour with Rick Manning that sickens me. And you'll find out what it is at 9:06. But I absolutely... What are your fears? And maybe you think that all that is glittering is gold with the potential of the Biden and Harris administration. I don't. I think it's fool's gold is what's glittering. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'm going to give away some cookies, and it's just about that time. And the cookies are from Sophie's Chatterbox at 530 East Street in Rupert, right on the square. What a fantastic restaurant. You'll never leave hungry. And a bakery that can bake anything, the pies, and the peach pie is a knockover success. I loved it when we got one about 3 weeks ago. And, of course, cakes, all the wedding cakes, everything at Sophie's Chatterbox. If you're the winner of this trivia question, all you need to do is call them and let them know when you'll be in for your cookies, okay? Here's the question, and it should be kind of a slam dunk. It's pretty easy. What is the first, or what was the first, feature-length animated film ever released? Think about it. What was the first feature-length animated film ever released to the public? Everybody should know this answer. If you know it, call 436-2244 or 1-866-927-4587. What was the first feature-length animated film ever released to the public? And what was it? Come on, quickly call me, and you can win the cookies at Sophie's Chatterbox. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Mickey Mouse?
No, but nice try. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. No, it wasn't Mickey Mouse. So the question again, what was the first feature-length animated film ever released? Caller number 2, you're on the air. What's the answer?
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Who is this?
Lillian Wright.
Well, Lillian, I hope you enjoy your cookies. By golly.
I want you to take those cookies yourself, Deb.
What's that?
I want you to take those cookies yourself.
Oh, no, you haven't seen Zeb in the last... Here's the funny part, Lillian, I got to share this with you. Deanne got out of the hospital, and she had lost a terrible amount of weight. And by trying to get her back to her fighting weight, guess who really put the weight on?
Well, my hubby's in the hospital now. He just had to have a pacemaker surgery, and he's my driver. So you have him get the cookies to charity.
Well, now, first of all, I want to say this. God's blessings to your husband. I hope all is well. What's his condition? Is he doing well every day, getting better?
He just had the surgery late last evening, 4 o'clock. That's when they started. I don't know when they finished, but I'm going down there today at 1 o'clock with my daughter.
Well, please know that Zeb at the Ranch audience is praying for you and your husband, and I hope all goes well. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. I enjoy you, Zeb, so much.
Thank you. You're a very kind lady and the best to your husband. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. I mean, that kind of a story. There's so many people that have got a lot of adversity in their lives. Bite your tongue again, see what happens. But I just want to wish thoughts and prayers to Lillian Wright's husband and pray for the best, especially during this holiday season. Thank you. Calls welcome, and we have one. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir.
My friend.
How was your Thanksgiving day?
Quiet. We went up to my daughter's for brunch, and we exceeded the numbers that they had recommended, but I was waiting at the door, waiting for somebody to come up and have us leave, and nobody showed up.
Nobody anonymous turned you in and had the health department and sheriff show up?
Well, I guess the same right back at you.
They never showed up at my place either.
You know, I got to tell you this, and we got a little feedback here, Sean, if you don't mind. I'm not going to mention this man's name, but he's one of my dearest friends up in Oregon. And every year he gets together with his two sons and his daughter's family and everything. And let me tell you, there's close to 30 people. And I said, are you going to be worried about somebody knocking on the door and telling you that you have to break up your Thanksgiving? And he said, no, they're the ones that need to worry.
Exactly right. Yeah, that Oregon, that's something else. Hey, call in on your neighbors if you see something going on.
It's not the America that you and I were born into.
Isn't that what they've done in Germany?
Yeah.
The Nazis were taken over?
Yeah, it was the tattletale mentality to where you better snitch on your neighbor. If not, and we find out you didn't, we're going to come after you. So everybody got scared, and it was total chaos.
Exactly. And you look at since this pandemic and President Trump opened the economy back up and most of the governors are opening up their states, you know, can you imagine what the unemployment rate would be had these Democrat governors opened up their states and the Democrat mayors opened up their cities?
Well, let me just say something to you, Doug, and you might not agree with this. I don't know. Again, Sean, there's just a tinge of that feedback hitting me in the headsets, please. If there is another warning with the Biden administration that on cue, January 21st, that they're going to suggest another lockdown, I am going to give you forewarning, Doug. I'm going to get on this program. Every hour on the hour, I'm going to beg that all businesses ignore it and do not close their doors. No one in a free society should have to close their businesses down at the whim of the government. I would suggest the masks, the hand washing, the social distancing, but I will never advocate for another lockdown that potentially is going to be the ruination of America.
Exactly right. It's the First Amendment, folks.
Yep.
We have a right to assemble. We have a right to worship God. We have a right to go to church. We have a right to pursue happiness. And if working your business is pursuing your happiness, all the more power to you.
They've already kind of alluded to the fact that they're going to try it because there have been these little rumblings of, oh, well, the people that got together for Thanksgiving, why, we're going to see a surge and then another surge of the COVID-19 because of Thanksgiving leading right up to Christmas. So we may have to consider, these are the so-called experts saying, we may have to consider a complete shutdown at Christmas.
No. And isn't that how it starts? They start taking away a little here, a little there, which they've been trying to do for years.
Yeah.
And now they're getting so bolden that it's right out in the open what they want to do.
Well, here's the thing, though. I go back to what I said last week, and you wouldn't believe the response I had over this. I would say 98% of the calls absolutely in favor of what I said. I said we've got to start implementing one word in our society. We, the people, need to start saying no.
Exactly. Just like that Supreme Court told, was it de Blasio or Como that they cannot shut down the churches?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, and here's the thing, though. Hold on, stop, because therein lies another problem. Most churches, most church leaders, I didn't say all, so don't anybody climb the fence and try to hit me over the head. Most pastors do not have the guts to fight back.
Yeah, I kind of tend to agree with you. They're go along to get along. You know, they don't want to upset their congregation, but the congregation is the one that should be upset, saying, no, we're not going to do this. And if you're not going to stand up, then we can replace you.
Absolutely. Well, I'll put this back out to you again. I've asked many, many times. I've only had three pastors call me back and ask to come on the program and air their views about what's going on with the lack of respect and morality and what's happening to our social status in America. Only three. And the invitation has been out there for many. What's the matter, Doug? Why won't they take a stand?
I don't know. I don't have the answer to that.
Well, evidently they don't either.
Yeah. Only they can answer why they won't do it.
You would think that, and especially at 9:06 when I get Rick Manning on the air, we're going to be talking. I'm going to give you a little preview on this, and then I'm going to take that other call. We're going to be previewing what Biden is planning to do for LGBTQ rights. He calls it rights. I call it giving away all of our heterosexual rights and abilities in this country. There's about 7 of them. And I'm telling you, if you didn't read these, it's going to shock you as to what this administration wants to do. And it's going to go after the Bible, and it's going to go after churches.
Yes. And did you see the little deal in New Zealand announcing quarantine camps for people who refuse to be tested?
Why can't people realize this is what I'm talking about? We've got to learn to say no.
Exactly. And there's one thing I read on the internet the other day, and it just fits to the Democrats, and if you guys are upset with this, so be it. If you have to cheat to win, you're still a loser.
That's exactly, oh boy, well put. I got to run. I got calls stacked up, Doug. Thanks.
All right. Hey, everybody. And thank you to everybody that was lined up at the Burley Senior Center for that Thanksgiving dinner.
Yes.
I want to say thank you. My hats are off to you for supporting the Senior Center.
Amen. God bless you, Doug. Thank you. Caller, I'll be right with you, I promise. I got to get this in real quick. I want to remind everybody about Barry Equipment and Rental, Sales, Service, and Parts. 3 locations to serve you. 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Napa location for all the equipment for the lifting and the digging and the pushing and the carrying and everything. I mean, they've got all the Bobcats. Yes, they do. All the trenchers, scissor lifts. They got all the big Doosan wheel loaders and excavators. Great lease programs and purchasing programs, finance programs. You check it out at Barry Equipment and Rental in Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. This closing down of all these businesses playing right into the Democratic strategy of controlling everything we've got.
Yep.
You're right. The people have got to stand up, open up their businesses, keep your distance if you have to. You don't have to go hugging the people in front of you. But let's get away from this mentality of we have to be under control by the Democratic Party.
I have told some of our state legislators what I'm going to do if the edict comes down that we're all supposed to close and shrivel behind closed doors. I'm not going to abide by it. I'm going to advocate on the radio, and I guess they'll have to pull the plug on me that everybody stay open and defy this, because absolutely another lockdown will kill, destroy, and absolutely bury business in America. And it's about high time. I'm maintaining that we wear masks. I'm maintaining that we try to do everything we can to stay away and not try to infect or get infected with this coronavirus. But I absolutely am against any more of the purported thought of lockdowns. Don't do it.
Yeah, this is going to play right into the Democrats' hands, because the only thing these people know, they don't do anything to
contains knowledge. They just want control.
Well, that's kind of an oxymoron when you say knowledge and Democrats, because I'm finding it hard to believe that they have any.
I know you got a bunch of brain dead ones up there. You've got a gangster and his gangster son going to have more control under the Chinese administration up there. And then you've got two Marxists that he's got planned to take over his vice presidency. And then you got Ocasio-Cortez there, which is another Marxist. We'll be in trouble.
Well, we are in trouble because there are some that want to have more of an inclusion in the so-called squad and give the so-called squad, there's another name I could use, but not on the radio, but they want more power. They want more power with the Biden administration. It's kind of like Black Lives Matter. They are demanding, that's a word that makes me sick, they are demanding that the Biden administration do their bidding and accept their agenda. And as far as I'm concerned, their agenda should be thrown in the trash can.
Well, we got another revolution coming because I talk to a lot of people at our major hardware stores and when I go out shopping, and people are ready to do something. You can see there's a powder keg out there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. Tony, always good to hear from you. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. God bless you and Mary. Thank you so much. Caller, I'll be right there. Quickly, I've got to tell everybody Merry Christmas from Golden Valley Warehouse, 468 West, 1000 South of Burley. And Scott and Christy and everybody wants to thank you for the business they've had, and they wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Rain for Rent, 134 South, 600 West, Highway 27 in Paul. Really good people. They sell the Reiki pivots and service. And don't forget, they wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Call them 438-5065. And, of course, Vicky's Country Gardens, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. Number to call for those gift certificates for Christmas stocking stuffers, 431-5667. Vicky's Country Garden, wishing you and yours a Merry Christmas. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, considering China and the Biden, if they get in, it ain't over with. It really isn't. There are things behind the scenes that nobody's saying anything about. I remain hopeful, but also realistic. But I tell you what, one of the things that I've noticed is that we need to call our Senator Risch is on the committee that deals with foreign relations, and I'd like to have him get on your program, and if it took an hour, that's what we would do, but if it's up to you, of course. But
well, yeah, being that I pay the bills, you're right, it is up to me.
What we're going to do to stop China.
No,
These Senate runoffs in Georgia, or we only win one. I mean, things are very precarious.
Well, let me tell you this. Hang on, Randy. Hang on. I'm all in favor. I'm all in favor of having Risch and Crapo come on my program. But I got a little burned out, and I'm not ashamed to admit it, nor am I going to back up from it. When you call and you get it scheduled, and then you have to call and they reschedule that, why should I be the dog chasing parked cars? You would think that our senators, whether state or national, would want to tell the public what's going on. They should be calling us to try to arrange the time.
Of course. This is what I've been so busy, thank God. And last week was just slammed, and then Thanksgiving. But this week I'm going to start calling 202-224-3121, and I'm going to start telling them they need to get both Crapo and Risch maybe together.
Yeah.
To get on the program here.
Absolutely.
And whether or not... Go ahead.
No, I didn't. The cow was mooing. It wasn't me.
Well, okay, and tell us how they're going to stop Biden administration from being coerced, controlled by the Chinese.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, we ain't got time to go into what the Chinese are doing, and they're doing it right now.
Right now is
behind.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So very good evidence that it was all intentional.
Absolutely. I'm not going to argue that point at all. Randy, you're always welcome, and I certainly wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Thank you so much.
Right, yeah.
All right, buddy.
Bye.
Thank you. Caller, I'm going to ask your indulgence. Let me get the weather on, and I'll come right back to your call. Please just sit there and look at the ceiling, count the dots in the different tiles. I'll be right there. Don't forget Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Absolutely the best for your hearing health care clinic. Right behind the Minidoka County Hospital, across from the emergency room. And the number to call, 312-0957. I'll say it again, 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Welcome back to another work week and the last day in November, and weather going to feel a little winter-ish. We are expecting a slight chance of snow showers by later this afternoon, but it is going to be mostly sunny skies, expecting a high of 46. Those snow showers could last through early this evening. They're going to be tapering off overnight. We are expecting a low right around 23. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, high of 36, with an overnight low of 16. By Wednesday, pretty much the same, sunny and 36. That's look at your weather for Zebeth.
Thank you, Gina, and brought to you by our friends at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Absolutely customizing for your individual needs and your hearing problems. They can help, believe me. They help me, they can help you. Call, make an appointment, 312-0957, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Caller, thank you for your patience. Good morning to you.
Well, good morning again. You know, ever since I can remember, there's always been some movie star or somebody that was prominent name, you know, that has wanted to move out of the country as soon as the election's over with. But it's always Democrats, of course, that are going to leave. But when the reason why they have never left is this is the only country, I mean the only country left that has the freedoms that we have here.
Yeah.
And we're about to lose them.
Well, these actors are just absolute imbeciles as far as condemning capitalist society of America, and pretty quick when people can't go to their movies, can't buy the admission ticket, or can't even drive to the theater, they're going to realize how dumb they really were. There is light at the tunnel, though. I got to share this with you. You know who Jon Voight is?
Yes.
Okay, he's been a very accomplished actor, very, very prominent on TV and movies. He's 80 years old, and he has had enough of Hollywood. And I read quite a bit of the story about him condemning Hollywood and what they're doing and how far left they are. So not everybody in Hollywood is a left-wing kook. Jon Voight, Tom Selleck, and many others are smart enough to realize the idiocy that's going on with the far left.
But you look at it now, if you made that statement, where are you going to go?
Well, the point is, though, they are making it.
Somewhat freedom.
No, the point is they're making it now. Voight and Selleck and others are standing up and they're taking notice of the incompetence of the left and what they're trying to advocate, and I salute them. There's many more. And I've said this many times on my program. It's too doggone bad that John Wayne has passed away, because we need more of his attitude today.
We certainly do. Come back, John. Come back.
It's
like asking for Shane.
All right. Hey, listen.
Shane, come back.
Hey, Keith, God bless you, man. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
All right, sir. Yeah, this deal with the Black Lives Matter, I don't know, folks. It's growing in popularity. I heard there's a chapter that is opened up and a headquarters in Kimberly, and I think I know where the chapter headquarters is. And the way they keep their place, it's indicative of the organization itself. And in L.A., Black Lives Matter, are absolutely adamant that they want to see not just a cutback in the funding for the police, they want a complete abolishment of the police. Have you ever stopped to think how critical and how dangerous and devastating our society would be without our police? Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Thank you. Back to John Wayne. I couldn't catch you in time. Amen on John Wayne. We need more of John Wayne's attitude. Thank you. Have a good day.
No, thank you. Thank you very much for your call. John Wayne had an album. He did some recording. I don't know how many people know this or not. But he had the title cut on the album was America, Why I Love Her. And I tell you what, you listen to that plus many other cuts on that album, and it'll bring tears to your eyes. That man, with his beliefs of the red, white, and blue in America, we need back. We need back more so than ever. The American first attitude. I make no bones about it. If people don't like my attitude, golly gee, I'm not going to change, so go listen to a Barry Manilow tape. I don't care. All countries to this country, my country, are secondary. As a citizen of this country, there should be no question about the pride in our land, first and foremost. I am proud to be an American. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah. Amen. I am too. And they're even trying to change the name of the John Wayne Airport because of that.
Yeah, and they want the statue down, everything. I have flown into that airport numerous times when I was rodeoing full time. And I don't care what anybody says, they better not say it to me. John Wayne and the epitome of what he stood for and kind of an icon for really the red, white, and blue.
And yes, I've listened to some of his album, and he was a true patriot.
Yeah. I've got it upstairs. Now, here's the problem. Upstairs is really kind of I don't know how to describe it. Upstairs in the attic is something that you don't want to go into.
Yeah, I think most everybody's got a room like that in their house.
And I've got all those albums up there, and I said to Deanne the other day, I said, boy, I'd like to bring those down and listen to some of those old albums. And she looked at me as if to say, go find it.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, one more thought from Mark Twain before I let you go to your other caller. It's easier to fool people than to convince them they have been fooled.
How true, and that's happening. That's happening.
It is happening right now.
God bless you, man. Thank you. Caller number 2, you're on the air quickly. I've got about 2 minutes left.
Hey, thank you very much. I, too, am a patriot. I bleed red, white, and blue. I don't need to go into my reasons why, but I am 100% American. I believe in this country. I specifically believe in our little country right here. And because of that, I have to say that I disagree with this mask wearing. If for no other reason than there is not enough science to say that it is a necessary or even effective thing to do. But I believe that complying with it and propagating the idea that we should is falling into a compliance problem. So you're allowing, I'll agree with you just a little bit here and I'll wear your mask, but I will not shut down my business. Well, wait a minute now. You're going to stand in front of a judge and he's going to say, you agreed that there was a reason that you needed to wear a mask, but you didn't think that reason was enough to shut down your business. I say dig your heels in now, and there we go.
I respect your call. And I quickly, because I got to do a commercial before I go, I want you to hear this and respond. Real short answer. But my wife has been deadly sick over the last 4 months, and I'm taking every precaution I can for her. We can't talk over each other, so stand by. And there's too much static on the line, Sean, please. And I'm going to wear a mask, I'm going to wash my hands, I'm going to social distance, but I am not ever going to advocate closing down businesses again because economically we can't take it. We won't be able to withstand the pressure or ever come back. That's my stand.
I agree. We can't. But we may allow some part of this and we won't be able to recover from it.
No, I agree.
I've been listening to the radio in Canada this morning. Those knotheads, they've gone too far. They started out drinking the Kool-Aid, and they are not going to recover. And I'm afraid that tide will just wash right over the border and sweep us right along with it.
You know, sir, I hope you call again because I've really enjoyed the call, and I appreciate it. I just wished I had more time. Thank you, and God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Want to remind everybody about our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations with the best of tires. And this is the time of the year to really make sure that you've got tread grabbers, let me tell you, because of the weather, the road, the muck, the yuck, the snow, and everything. You better get into your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and let them help you. They've got all the tires for all vehicles. The best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries. Oh, it's cold out there this morning. You don't want to hear that click, click, click. Make sure you've got a good battery. They've got them all with James and Buell, Dan on Pole Line in Twin Falls, Lane and Rupert, Mike and Jerome, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, the Twist family in Paul, and my buddy Trent on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Over to Sean. We'll be back in about 7 minutes. Oh, well, let's not wait. Let's jump right in the fray. Good morning, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the best of tires and service. Along with our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, this good word for Western Waste.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're all at the Georgia struggle. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
Well, that's what it is, always at your disposal. Get on the route service, call them at 734-6969, and your garbage is gone, it's out of there. Call them today. They are always at your disposal, Western Waste Services. Want to remind you, too, about our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Don't forget that your home is the one place where everything should be perfect, including your air. Ramsey Heating and Electric helps you achieve the perfect air you deserve with the Lennox products, the Lennox home comfort systems that'll help improve your health. Don't forget to give them a call, Ramsey Heating and Electric at 678-0459, or visit ramseysonline.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. By the way, too, I got a couple of things I got to take care of. Busy season. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, and they're located at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Don't forget the number 678-1191. And they can help you get back to being you. If you're recouping from a accident or a surgery, they know with all their great physical therapists, all the exercises, and they've got the only hydrotherapy pool of its kind in the entire area. So please give them a call for an appointment today. 678-1191, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. I'm telling you, because I know firsthand, they are the best. Another quick note. I'm chomping on the bit. I'm on the track and headed around the last turn. Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. Absolutely. With a dear friend of ours, Joel Heward, his family and staff, serving you and your family with the best possible support and comfort when there's the passing of a loved one. And always upholding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, call them 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary in Rupert. And also, Joel Heward serving you at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Ladies and gentlemen, it goes without saying, and I say this every week, but I am so proud to have this man as a part of our program every week, and he is the president of Americans for Limited Government, and I have the utmost respect for him. Rick Manning, good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well, Zeb. How are you?
Well, Rick, I'm going to get really, really serious this morning because I'm mad. And I think you'll agree with me. I know that you're a Christian and proud of it. I am too. But I see with this Biden administration, I read a 5-column story that was put out by the Associated Press, yesterday's newspaper, about how the Biden administration plans to move very swiftly to what they say protect LGBTQ rights. And I find this, after I read through all these different bullet points, nothing more than an assault on religion and an assault on the Bible. Your thoughts?
Well, it is. Yeah, it's intended to be that. And, this is the same guy who went around saying, remember, I'm Roman Catholic. You should vote for me, to people who are Catholic. And it's but it's exactly what was predictable, and it's so it's not surprising. It makes me mad, but it's not surprising. One of the things that we've found out though is that if they are attempting to change executive orders which President Trump has filed. Due to a lawsuit dealing with DACA, the Supreme Court held that you have to go through a pretty extensive procedure to change an executive order. Apparently, giving executive orders the full weight of a regulation, in spite of the fact that it went through another regulatory process. And so since the Supreme Court decided that under DACA, the President of the United States could not do an executive order, could not rescind an executive order of the prior president, the Biden administration is going to be a little bit hamstrung if the same rules apply to them as applied to President Trump. And first of all, I want people to understand there's still we are not conceding that Biden is going to be president. We're recognizing that if he is president, he is going to do some really crazy stuff.
Right.
And all this stuff about him being a moderate that people were told by the establishment media is a lie. And the people who work for him, the people he's going to bring in as his cabinet, as his advisors, are all crazy. So understand that this is in preparation. We have to kind of be on two tracks here. So I don't want people to get upset about that we're giving up on the president retaining the office, because I'm not giving up on that. But we do have to deal with the reality in the case that doesn't occur. And no, Biden's nuts, and and he will be, and the people he's going to bring in are going to be people who are anti-Christian in every way. They're the people who think that it's okay to keep a bar open, but not okay to let people meet in church during the shutdowns. And we're going to have a real battle over religious liberty in this country. And it will be interesting but the court's going to be a little bit different. Supreme Court, because of Amy Barrett, will be different. And it'll be interesting to see how far they're allowed to push against the First Amendment, and what protections that this court, the Justice Thomas, Alito, Barrett, Gorsuch, and Kavanaugh court, what leeway they're going to give the federal government to infringe on people's First Amendment rights. And I predict it'll be much less leeway than the Roberts Court provided them.
On this program, I have been adamant and absolutely will not vary with my opinion that it's wrong for transgender males to compete on girls' teams. And one of the points that the Biden administration says, quote, they want to reinstate Obama administration guidance directing public schools to allow transgender students to access bathrooms, locker rooms, and sports teams in accordance with their gender identity. This is wrong, this is sick, and this is perverted, and every family should be outraged and fight back if that occurs.
Well, I think they're going to have an interesting Title IX case on that. The challenge was that Justice Kennedy agreed with them, and so they had a 5-vote majority in the Supreme Court under Obama. they don't have that majority now. And there's a couple things that come to play. First of all, when it deals with religious-based schools and the like, they won't allow it. I think it's clear that religious-based schools will be exempted from federal government action. Secondly, when they talk about doing guidance, there's an interesting executive order that President Trump did on guidances where he directed the administration to eliminate as many guidances as possible. What a guidance is it's essentially an advisory letter. You know, if you sent me a note and say, well, what do you think? And I was the Secretary of Transportation or something. And I said, well, this is what I think, and I send you a letter. That's a guidance. A regulation is when somebody actually goes through a process. They have hearings. They hear all sides. They make changes. It's about a two-year process to do a regulation. A guidance is a piece of paper. And the chance and a guidance is oftentimes confusing because while it's set to clarify something, not everybody gets the guidance. It's like to keep up with the guidances, you have to almost have a full-time person doing nothing but guidances and reading these advisory opinions. So they're not going to stand up in court. It's not as strong as a regulation. And as a result, I think they're going to have a difficult time enforcing that guidance with the Supreme Court that exists right now. And that is a reason for hope. But yeah, it should make you mad. And just to get to the core issue, there's another thing that exists. It's called Title IX. Title IX, most people are aware of it because they know that you have to have 17 women's college teams in order to have a football team in college, because they have to spend the same amount of money on men's sports as women's sports. That's why you have fewer sports like lacrosse and things like that at the college level for men than you do for women, because there has to be some kind of equalization of spending. But Title IX is designed to help women and create an equal opportunity for women to be able to compete and enjoy the same sports spending as other areas and other protections. It's really equal protection for women in the college campus.
Mm-hmm.
So when you suddenly blur the line as to what a woman is, the entirety of Title IX is done. There's no way you can ever rationalize Title IX under those circumstances. And given that, I think there'll be extraordinarily interesting court cases on the transgender issue as it relates to competing on sports teams, because it is inherently unfair to women who are competing on sports teams to have genetic men competing against them.
That's right.
That is, it's just inherently unfair, and hence Title IX itself will be used as a means to end that practice. If Biden does push it forward in such a way that it has to be fought. And there's already court cases of high school students who are fighting it. And so those court cases are working their way through the courts. And I think the courts will jump in and say, no, you can't do that.
Rick, let me ask you this, and this might take just a little time to set up, but Biden hasn't answered any questions whatsoever about any issues. I'll just, the top of my head, think about North Korea, energy independence, China, the Middle East agreement, NATO, Iran, border security. This man has avoided and not answered one damn question to the American public. And when are we going to get some transparency from this so-called administration that might take over?
Well, I doubt you're going to get any. The truth of the matter is they weren't held to a standard of having to provide transparency during a campaign, and where you're actually getting your transparency, if there is some, is in who he's looking at appointing to various positions. And in those appointments is where you're getting transparency. The fact he's talking about Susan Rice, who lied to America about Benghazi, who last day of the Obama administration went in and sent a memo saying Barack Obama was behind trying to go after President Trump, and through the Justice Department. Now, Susan Rice, thank you so much, Susan Rice, to be the Secretary of State. Tells you all you need to know.
Right. Right. What about, though, the situation right now with the election itself? There has been a denigration, which we expected, with basically 95% of the news media condemning Trump for not conceding and welcoming Joe in with open arms. But there are still avenues of approach that are available that might not put Biden in the White House, aren't there?
There are, and it's. I mean, there is a pathway for President Trump to still be president, and it goes to the very heart of whether or not elections are going to be honest and fair. And I think we have a right to expect that would occur. But I don't think many people believe that happened here, including me. I don't think this was an honestly held election in many respects. The question will be: will courts actually intervene in such a way by saying that this election was fraudulently won, or at least that there's reason to believe that the election was fraudulently won. If courts say that, if the Trump legal team can get a court to agree to that, if they can get the Supreme Court to agree to that equal protection clauses under the law were not followed, and as a result, Republican ballots were treated differently than Democrat ballots, and that was unconstitutional against the law. If they can get the Supreme Court to agree to that, which is Bush v. Gore, which is the precedent, at that point, state legislators will have a choice they'll have to make as to whether or not they want to, whether or not they believe their elections were fairly held in their states, and what they're going to do about it. But it's getting a state legislature, getting 2 or 3 state legislatures to sit there and say the election wasn't fairly held and we're going to pick electors or not pick electors is extremely difficult to do. Mm-hmm. And the pressure the state legislators are under by Antifa types, I know they're getting personal threats on their lives. I've heard from them. So there's a lot of, state legislators aren't necessarily wealthy. They're just real estate guys and different people who live in the community. And they're getting threats on their lives. Their families are getting threats on their lives. So this is a really, really tough ask for them to stand up for fair elections, and for President Trump, who I believe legitimately won the election. So that's the real situation, and it's going to take a lot of guts from politicians to do it. And politicians, this isn't saying anything bad about anybody who's a state politician in any of the states that are in question, but politicians as a whole aren't really well known for having a lot of guts. Mm-hmm. So it's we'll see what happens, but the Supreme Court's going to have to just say this whole thing was they totally messed this thing up, and it was such an unfairly held election that nobody can know what happened in this state or in these states.
Absolutely.
And if that occurs, then at least the Republicans will have a foothold to be able to say we're not going to certify results that are fraudulent, and not doing so, we're not going to send electors at all because we can't determine who won or who didn't win because the election officials didn't keep the ballots separate. They didn't do anything that they needed to do make us be able to figure out who actually won the election, and as a result, we're not going to certify that. There's a lot of steps in between, and between that, but it'll be a big fight. It'll be a big fight in the next 10 days. And I've said this on the air before. In Idaho, you can call your state legislators and urge your state legislators to contact the state legislators who they know in Pennsylvania and Michigan and Arizona and Wisconsin and Georgia, and urge them to stand up for fair elections, to not allow the election to be stolen. That is something which your state legislator could do, legislator to legislator, and they should be having those conversations with their colleagues from other states.
Absolutely.
And basically shoring them up.
Absolutely.
So ask your state legislator to do that. If your state legislator won't do it, you know where they stand.
Absolutely. Rick, I've got time just to cover one more topic, and you mentioned Antifa a few moments ago. Along with that insidious group, Black Lives Matter, and the demands that BLM is making to the Biden potential administration to accept and do their bidding and do their agenda. It's almost like they're standing behind Biden with a club saying, we demand it or else. I'm afraid of BLM. I'm afraid of the power that they're gathering, not only across the nation, but even in small towns like right over the road from us, about 18 miles, Kimberly, Idaho. There's a sign that says support Black Lives Matter, and they're supposedly the headquarters for a new chapter here. It's scary what's going on, and nobody really seems to want to put them down.
Well, yes, what you're saying is true, and it is scary because they are Marxists. But what's really scary is they've gotten hundreds of millions of dollars of contributions, which they undoubtedly spent some in the election. But I'm confident that they kept some of that money, and they're going to use it to expand their agenda in all over the country. And the thing that, I'll give you, groups like mine, we don't have hundreds of millions of dollars to do stuff, and as a result, we really play a David role with not 5 smooth stones but 1. Of course, it only took David 1 stone, but the Black Lives Matter people are going to have so much money at their disposal, and they have their fingers ripped around the throats of so many businesses who are afraid of them that they have an extortion racket that makes Jesse Jackson blush. And they're going to be using that, and they're going to have plenty of money to assault the rest of us and assault our freedom. And that's the reality we live in. We have to beat them, and we have to beat them through truth and honesty. But the fact is, they're going to be well funded, and we can't. Nobody should ever discount them as the political force, because corporate America has basically enabled them to have all the dollars they could ever want, to hire every political organizer they want, and to reframe themselves as being something other than a Marxist organization, and make them acceptable. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's scary. And people should just be aware that this isn't a joke. This is for real.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, every Monday he's on this program. You can listen and learn to the president of Americans for Limited Government, dear friend of this program, and I certainly hope and pray you and your family had a blessed Thanksgiving, and now we look to Christmas. Rick Manning, thank you for being on the program.
Thank you, Zevin. Likewise to you and Deanne.
Thank you very, very much. Very nice gentleman, and I'm proud to have him on this program. Rick Manning, thank you. Right now, oh my goodness, Christmas wishes. We got to do this right. Merry Christmas wishes, of course, go out from Burley Veterinary Hospital at 2826 Overland Avenue in Burley, 678-5509. They're a mixed animal practice, and believe me, they're committed to providing quality veterinary care in a caring, compassionate atmosphere. They've done that since 1946. Wishing you a Merry Christmas, Burley Veterinary Hospital at 2826 Overland in Burley. Mountain Transmissions, 1146 East Main in Burley. Don't forget the great people to go to. If you know you got a transmission problem, you put it in drive and you went in reverse and so much for the garage door, you better give them a call at 678-9110. Located at 1146 East Main in Burley, Mountain Transmissions. And last but not least, wishing you a Merry Christmas, Clark's for Shopping at 100 East Main Street in Oakley with that famous Grandma's Secret Recipe, the best in sausage anywhere, anytime. Don't forget, out in Oakley, good people, Clark's for Shopping, wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Another quick note we want to remind everybody, let me take a look at my list here. I want to remind everybody about Good Eatin'. Just stop in the door, and there they are, seating you at a booth or a table at America's Diner. Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. Oh, Good Eatin', breakfast, lunch, dinner, anytime, all the time. Don't forget they've got on the menu now turkey dinners and delicious pies. Oh, my goodness, I'm a breakfast man, and they've got all the omelets and the breakfast skillets and the strawberry crepes. Oh, you name it, it's all there. You're going to love the people that are serving you at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. Truly, it is America's Diner. Want to also take the time to tell you about some other friends of ours that have got a showroom chock full of fun. What am I talking about? I'm talking about Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. I'm telling you, that showroom has got all the snowmobiles, all the fun right there. You go in, you're going to be amazed how they got everything crammed in there. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 2. Let's Ride. And along with that, all the accessories, and they've got a super service department that can keep you running. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, and it's true, this is where the fun is sold. Last but not least, I want to remind you, too, about our good buddy Todd and the crew over at Cameron and Siemens Insurance in Rupert on Highway 24. Life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and so much more for you, your family, and your business. And believe me, Cameron and Siemens Insurance, dedicated and devoted to serving you. Please get a hold of them today. Call the number 436-4424. 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance in Rupert. Wow, let's go to the phone line. We've got a lot to talk about with this man. Good morning, old buddy, Frosty Woldridge, Golden, Colorado.
Good morning, Zeb, and good morning to everyone listening to this broadcast today. I hope that that latest column really stimulated you or provoked you or certainly enraged you. I did a lot of work on this one, and the title of the piece, and you can get it at newswithviews.com, is quite provocative. And who said diversity and multiculturalism are so wonderful?
Not me.
And what I did was have an interview with a Venezuelan who has been here for 20 years, and boy, what he has to say of what's happening to America from the eyes of an immigrant is really quite striking. So I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Well, I got to tell you, first and foremost, Deanne and I owe you an apology because we lost the D in your name when I featured you in my Cow Pies and Coffee Cups. The D is laying on the desk. I'll replace it in your name.
When I got your usual cow pies that I always read every week because you really bring it, I didn't see anything happening with the one that you talked about. So, yeah, we'll catch up on that.
All right. Listen, kudos to you, because I've never been in favor of all this diversity garbage and multiculturalism, and the many pages that you had written about this with the talk of a gentleman from Venezuela, Pedro de Alvarado, absolutely A+. Go ahead and explain it to the audience.
Well, I want everyone to understand this. We are being displaced. We, the American citizens, our culture is being displaced. It's being disrupted. Our language is being displaced. You can go to any Home Depot, you can go to most stores, and you'll see Spanish. Soon you'll see Arabic. Soon you'll see everything else, Chinese, because that's what's happening in Vancouver, British Columbia. It's also happening in Ottawa, Montreal. And so the key here is a man named Renaud Camus, C-A-M-U-S, quoted, "The great replacement, or genocide by substitution, is such a huge crime that even its victims cannot believe it. They say to themselves, of course, it looks very much like it, but it's not possible. It can't be true. It would be enormous. Things like that do not happen," unquote. That's the lead on this, ladies and gentlemen. And here's a fact that I want you to get a hold of, because the Pew Research Center, and you can go to the pewresearchcenter.org to get these realities, but by 2042, European Americans, in other words, Caucasians, who were once 90% of America's population, and that's what made this country so extraordinarily successful until 1965, when the Immigration Reform Act was passed by Howard Metzenbaum and Teddy Kennedy, the late senator, along with Jacob Javits. They shoved that piece of legislation through with no comment other than it's not going to do anything to change the demographics here in America. That was the great ringing call of Teddy Kennedy. Well, by 2042, that particular bill that passed 55 years ago, Caucasians will become the new minority in the United States at 49%, and the new majority will be the Latino, Hispanic, Mexicans that have literally invaded this country. And here's the kicker. Every country in the world that features different cultures, languages, and ethnic groups faces endless conflict. And because I've traveled all through Asia, the perfect example is, of course, India. India, they always brag about India being a fantastic, the largest democracy in the world with 1.3 billion people. It is the worst example of humanity in the world because it's a living nightmare. Over 66% of Indians do not have access to a toilet. Less than 15% have nutritious meals every day. In other words, it's one big sprawling third world nightmare where people live their lives are just sheer misery. The trash, the filth, the water is undrinkable. And how do I know? Because I was there. And so that's what we're headed for, because the lower we go down on the educational ladder and the socioeconomic ladder and the poverty, and examples right now are abounding. All over San Francisco, 11,000 homeless living in tents, 62,000 homeless living in tents and tarps there in Los Angeles. The same thing going on in Chicago, the same thing in New York City. That's where we're headed, and I think that's why this is such an extraordinary interview with this guy named Alvarado.
There was one line, one small sentence of this whole piece that hit me right between the eyes, and I'll read it to you, and I quote, "Countries should not cater to ethnic grievances of foreigners they receive."
That was very telling, because very few Americans know that we spend billions of dollars. I don't know what the final billions is, but Bill Clinton, when he was president, kowtowed to all of these ethnic minorities. You are supposed to learn English when you come to this country.
That's right.
And so that wasn't happening. So he passed. He didn't pass. He just declared Executive Order 13166, which makes it mandatory for us to pay for all document translations for over 100 languages of the immigrants coming into this country. And I can tell you, I bicycled down the coast 4 times. I've watched the transformation since 1965, essentially. I've watched the transformation or deformation of California, and it's turned into such an ethnic pit of all these multicultural and diversified ethnic groups that you can't count on anybody speaking English. And now that we kowtow to that, you go south of San Francisco, and there are 3 or 4 cities I pass through, and of course I stop for food. Well, guess what? They're all Chinese. Nothing but Chinese. Chinese completely dominate, and they have no affinity to America whatsoever, other than they're just simply utilizing and enjoying our country. And yet, as you look up north to Vancouver, they're taking over. And of course, as I've said before, Chinese and Indian immigration into our country is into the millions right now, and they're taking over many different aspects of our country. And all of you know, who, if you've traveled across the country and gone to any of the independent motel chains, those chains and all those motels have been bought out by Indians using our money, and they chain migrate their relatives over here and keep taking over more and more, so that we really don't have any Americans that are taking care of the motels in this country. They're all Indians.
One of the things that in this piece that I want you to highlight, and this is one of the real sore spots with me, is that we, the American people, have to cater to anybody coming into this country. We have to print all the different languages. We have to make sure that they have interpreters. We have to basically mollycoddle them. And when our grandparents and our great-grandparents came to this country as foreigners, they had to learn how to be Americans. They had to learn the language. Why can't we expect the same thing today instead of a hodgepodge melting pot of where we can't communicate with each other?
Well, you said the key word was melting pot. At one point we were. The Italians, the French, the Germans, the Portuguese, the Spanish, the Austrians, the Scandinavians, the Norwegians, the Finnish, you name it, all came over here, and they were delighted to learn English.
That's right.
To become Americans. That is no longer happening. You are seeing Arabic as the major language there in Detroit, in that enclave of Muslims. You are seeing Spanish taking over literally the school systems of Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and Southern California. You're now seeing all of these disparate languages like the Hmongs up there in in Minneapolis. You're seeing different languages now coming down. Chinese is the dominant language in all these cities that are dominated by the Chinese. How do I know? Again, because I was there. I got to see it firsthand. So we are literally moving toward, as this immigrant said, genocide of our country, genocide by substitution. And again, I can't say this enough. Within the next 30 years, we will see another 100 million people in this country, and approximately 85 to 90% of them will be foreigners. And right now, we have 45 million who are foreign-born. 45 million who are foreign-born, and a tremendous percentage of those really don't care about being Americans whatsoever because they've kept their own languages. And in fact, if you go to places like Detroit, which I have, and places like Minneapolis, which I have, they all favor Sharia law. So you're going to see more and more push for more and more of their cultures and more of their laws to dominate into these ethnic groups. And that means complete separation of our country, both culturally and linguistically. And if you all remember, I think it was Immanuel Kant, the great philosopher, said the two dividers are language and what's the other one? Language and religion. And boy, are we pumping in different languages and different religions in this country that have no affinity to the United States of America.
You got to ask yourself, and I sit here many, many times with you and all my guests, and you got to wonder, how did we jump into this cesspool that is tearing America apart? And you got to ask yourself, is it our education system? Is it our lack of pride in our great country, the greatest country on the face of the earth? Is it something that came in overnight and just started creeping into our culture? Where did all this garbage of multiculturalism and diversity and don't think of America as number one, it's just another country, forget your pride in America. Where did all this start anyway?
Well, it really started in 1965 with Teddy Kennedy and his cohorts passing that Immigration Reform Act, because at the time it was the noble, well, we need to make more diversity in our country and give more cultures and more languages and more people a chance to live the American dream. But that very quickly turned into corporations enjoying cheap labor, because these people were coming from countries, most people don't realize this, but in about 2 billion people on the planet live on $1.25 a day, if that. You know, let that set in your craw for a second. 2 billion, B as in boy, people live on less than $1.25 a day. And so, of course, the rest of the world wants to come here. But you also have to understand that those people living in those countries at $125 a day are illiterate. But they're also adding 80 million of themselves every year. And my forthcoming book, which will publish in March, or probably February or March of next year, America's Overpopulation Predicament, Blindsiding Future Generations, those people in those countries are growing at such a rate of speed, about 1 million of them literally every 4 days, 83 million actually every year. You can't educate them. You can't house them. You can't find jobs for them. You can't create a successful society. The reason we created a successful society, and so did Canada, and so did Europe, and so did Australia, is because the birth rate was less than, it's about 2.0 children per woman. And that has allowed our countries to be successful because we can educate our young. We can say the Pledge of Allegiance. We all speak one language. We have a similar culture. Our culture is the American culture. Australia, I've traveled all over Australia. They have one culture, or they did. And then when you go to Europe, each country has its own culture and its own language. That is now being broken up because the leaders, and I'm talking about Cameron, I'm talking about Blair, I'm talking about all these morons who really started this multicultural quagmire, or Angela Merkel, of course, the worst of all, because she dumped over 1.5 million people into her country there in the last couple of years. 1.5 million people who are from everywhere but anywhere. And they're illiterate. They don't have the language, they don't have the culture, they don't have first world talents or skills, and so they all go on welfare. That's going to continue to be the fact for us if we don't change course. And of course, at the end of this article that I wrote, again, I show those two, the gumballs, immigration, poverty, and gumballs, and I hope, of course, everybody listening has joined numbersusa.org, and, of course, then Immigration Off the Charts, the 10-minute video that shows what's going to happen to us. But at the end here, here's the facts going on today, because he talks about the shootouts and how in the 1990s, the drive-by shooting capital of America was San Antonio. Well, I was stationed there in the Army. I remember people were getting shot all the time, but now that's now in Chicago. Why? Because Chicago's got, I understand, somewhere between 500,000 plus illegal immigrants in Chicago, and they're just violent. That's how they are. They're illiterate. They're just from another country. They're from another culture who solves things by the gun. But now you've got Chicago, you got Detroit, you got St. Louis. St. Louis actually has more shootings and killings than Chicago, and now Minneapolis. We're talking 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 shootings annually in these cities. I mean, that's how bad it is. And so, again, at the end of this column that I write, shut down all immigration in the United States. This has got to be, you, the people that are listening to this broadcast, you got to start harping on your 2 senators and your House members, and you got to stop the anchor baby birthright citizenship. It's 300,000 of them a year. But it's not just 300,000 babies that are born on our soil that get instant citizenship. It's another 300,000 of their mothers. That's 600,000 people on welfare. That's been going on for the last 30-odd years now. And then number 3, we've got to stop all chain migration into America, because that's how the Chinese and that's how the Indians are just overwhelming our systems. And then number 4, deport all illegal aliens, their children and their relatives. Just get them out of our country, because they are inundating and overwhelming our welfare systems. Let their own countries save them or fix them or change them or whatever it's going to take. And stop any attempt by immigrants to pass their own laws in contradiction of the U.S. Constitution. And, of course, the first one of those laws is Sharia.
That's right.
Can rescind EO 13166. And number 7, demand that all Americans of any kind of color, religion, or whatever speak English in the public sector, schools taught in English, and all business everything in English in order to keep a cohesive aspect to our country.
Amen.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Real quick, and I've only got 2 minutes left, and I have to ask you to hurry, but they're hurrying, like I just said, at the border to finish up about approximately 450 miles of barricade and fencing. I certainly hope that the stupidity of the maybe Biden administration will not go in and tear it down.
I can guarantee you this. I would ask everyone listening to this broadcast, go to the Biden platform. He's going to give DACA a complete executive order of free citizenship. He's going to absolutely open the borders to unlimited immigration. He's going to push for that. And if he gets the Senate and he's got the House, he is going to do massive damage to our country by he's going to give citizenship and instant visas to 25 million illegal aliens. And that's what we're facing. He won't stop the 50,000 diversity visas that come in and just go on welfare every year. It's called the golden ticket. So, ladies and gentlemen, that man he's going to neuter the U.S. Border Patrol. He's going to neuter any kind of enforcement internally, like U.S. Code 8, Section 1324. So employers of illegal aliens will proliferate across the country, and then we will be pushed out of our jobs. Our poor will be jobless and all on welfare. And at some point, Zeb, our entire system of welfare and taking care of our citizens is going to collapse.
Absolutely.
That is a guaranteed mathematical fact, and all of us are going to pay for that one as we have more tent cities and we have more poor and we have more illiteracy cover our country in here in the next coming 4 years under the Biden administration.
We've got a caller, and I'm going to give the caller... I'm going to give the caller exactly 15 seconds for a quick question and then response. I'm out of time. Quickly, go.
My comment is, under this new president, there ain't a chance in the world we'll do anything that will help this country by blocking the illegal aliens.
Thank you, caller. And a quick response, Frosty. I'm flat out of time.
The caller is 100% correct. This president, and actually Harris, the president-to-be, they're going to open these borders up, and we are going to have an onslaught like no one's ever seen before.
Absolutely. Frosty, I'm so sorry, but I am out of time, and it's an excellent article. I can't wait to have you back on next week. My dear friend, Frosty Woldridge, and that's with a D that I left off on my blog, but we'll find it and put it back in. God bless you, man. Have a great week.
And God bless to everyone.
Thank you very much. Holy smokes, I want to remind everybody, don't forget, your home is the one place where everything should be perfect, including your air. Ramsey Heating and Electric helps you achieve the perfect air you deserve with reliable, groundbreaking, award-winning Lennox products. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric today and see about getting a Lennox home comfort system in your home. Call them at 678-0459 or go to ramseysonline.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Right now it's time for the weather. And let me get this picked up here real quick before I forget it. The weather brought to you this hour by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And they are the professionals when it comes to accounting services for the entirety of the Magic Mini-Cash area and beyond for over 50 years. They know. And they can help you, your family, and your business. The best of tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, retirement planning, all of this and so much more by people that really, when I say the word, they are the professionals. With offices in Burley and Rupert, Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Welcome back to another work week and the last day in November, and weather going to feel a little winter-ish. We are expecting a slight chance of snow showers by later this afternoon, but it is going to be mostly sunny skies, expecting a high of 46. Those snow showers could last through early this evening. They're going to be tapering off overnight. We are expecting a low right around 23. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, high of 36, with an overnight low of 16. By Wednesday, pretty much the same, sunny and 36. That's look at your weather for Zeb.
She does a great job. Thank you, Gina. And, of course, like I said, they do a great job of accounting services to you, your family, and your business at Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. Don't forget they have two offices, 1710 Overland Avenue in Burley and 625th Street in Rupert. Please work with the best. Let them help you, the professionals. Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. Wow. Really, I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving last Thursday, and all is well with your families. And now that we're back now in the Christmas spirit, and we're going to be ringing those bells quite a bit over the next couple of weeks. By the way, when it comes to Christmas shopping, and you want to get that certain someone something really, really special when it comes to electronics and all the different products, home theater systems, video surveillance cameras, car stereos and speakers, complete sound systems, all the TVs from Samsung, Sony, Toshiba, LG TVs. Oh, I mean, they've got everything. They've got the Sony CDRs. They've got all the Sony TVs. They've got everything over at Patterson's Electronics, including all the knowledge. Oh, these people are smart. Oh, they're sharp, and they can help you at 421 East Main in Burley. Curtis and Lorena at Patterson's Electronics. They're open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6. And, of course, don't forget, too, they've also got a new line of dehydrated food in stock, so you got to check that out, too. Patterson's Electronics in Burley. Okay? Coming up at 10:06, I'm really looking forward to having a dear friend on the show, and you know him. He's District 27 Representative Fred Wood is going to be on the program. We're going to be talking a little bit about COVID, and we're going to be talking about the legislature and what's going to be discussed when they convene back in January, and about governor powers, about governor and their powers. So that's going to be coming up at 10:06 this morning. There was a lady that called in earlier this morning and won the cookies. Her name is Lillian Wright. And Lillian, if you're still listening out there this morning, if you would call my cell phone at 312-2976 and leave your address, I've got a little bit of a surprise for you. So if you would please call my cell phone and leave your address at 312-2976, I'd sure like to hear from you. Lillian Wright, if you do that, I'd be much obliged. Right now, old Sean's sitting over there chomping on the bit, and we're going to send it back over to him for a little bit of music, and then we're going to listen to the news and be back at about 10:06. Zeb at the Ranch, don't you go away. Oh, my, here we go into the last half hour. Actually, the last hour. Don't abbreviate anything, Zeb. There you go. Zeb at the Ranch, and, of course, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the best in tires and service. And, of course, don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Want to remind you, too, very quickly, your home is the one place where everything should be perfect, including your air. Ramsey Heating and Electric helps you achieve the perfect air you deserve with reliable, groundbreaking, award-winning Lennox products. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric today and find out about a Lennox home comfort system for your home. Call them at 678-0459 or visit ramseysonline.com. Conditions apply. See the dealer for details. One more good word before we go to our guests, and that's, of course, everything that's going on the pre-big days of shopping, and that's, of course, Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more. Don't forget, they've got all kinds of great items on sale, like recliners and dining room sets, mattresses, floor coverings. Oh, my goodness, save money and enjoy the beautification and comfortization of your home. Find out more. Talk to the pros that can help you at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more. No money down, no interest, 48 months on approved credit. Don't forget the best. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more. Right now, and I'm very honored to have this man take the time to come on our program very often during the course of a year before the legislative session, and that's District 27 Representative Fred Wood. Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb. How are you this morning?
I am good. I want to get right into this because I'm more than concerned. I have made the statement, and Sean, I've got a little bit of feedback if you could help me, please. I've made the statement on my program, Fred, and you can criticize me, chew me out. I've got big shoulders. I will adhere to the mask wearing. I will adhere to the social distancing. I will adhere to the hand washing and take the precautions, especially with my wife's health and others. But I tell you one thing, I will not support any more of a lockdown for any business in the state of Idaho. I've had it, and it's not helping anything by making people go broke.
Well, if you want to argue with somebody, you better go find somebody else. And here's the lockdowns are not necessary. There isn't any doubt about that. In terms of, if we're going to describe a lockdown is okay, you have to stay in your house and you can't go to work and you can't do this and you can't do that and yada, 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 okay? What we're dealing with here is a respiratory pandemic. This is not a pandemic like AIDS or anything, okay? This is a respiratory one. So what do? What you really have to do is you have to stop the spread of it respiratorily. Well, you know, Zeb, if 100% of the citizens of the state of Idaho did just a couple of things, they wore an appropriate mask, and they wore it appropriately, they washed their hands and kept surfaces, etc., all clean, and they didn't make unnecessary trips that wasn't necessary. In other words, you don't take all the kids to the grocery store, et cetera, et cetera. Just modest things like that. Everybody could go to work, okay? But this would require every single business to make absolutely sure that every single employee wore an appropriate mask and wore it appropriately, and that you social distance, try to keep as much distance as you can. You could keep the businesses open. You could keep the economy running. You could keep all of those kinds of things going. The problem is I've been downtown periodically, and there ain't anybody wearing masks. Or, let's put it this way, awful few, okay?
Well,
that's the problem.
Well, okay, but wait a minute. Let me get in here and arbitrate with you a little bit. The mask mandate, when they say mandate, are they talking about wearing a mask from the time you leave your back door to get in your car or your pickup, or are they saying just on public property? It's very, very vague. And when you're parked out in front of a supermarket, you're on public property. If you're in your vehicle, do they demand wearing a mask? I mean, there's vagueness there that needs to be transparent to the public.
Okay, so let's stop and think about what you do every time you breathe in and you breathe out. And what we're talking about here, the danger is breathing out, okay? So what you want to do is any time that you are out in the public where you're going to run into people, okay, then you should be wearing a mask. If you're in your John Deere tractor or whatever brand you want to make, I don't want to pick a fight with some farmer because he likes red tractors better than green. If you're out in your tractor or wherever, or you're out in the South 40 and there's nobody around, no, that's not the issue. But if you're going to go downtown somewhere, or you're going to go somewhere where you're going to run into a bunch of people, and you know you are, then you should be wearing a mask.
I can't argue that. I agree with you, and I have done that not only for my own personal health, but also especially at this time because of Deanne's health conditions. But when you have an...
And I do the same thing. If we go downtown to the post office, we wear a mask.
That's right.
We don't wear a mask in the car going down there.
That's right.
Okay? But we put it
it on before we get out of the car, and we take it off after we get back in the car, and we have hand sanitizer, et cetera, to take care of all of that. The same if we go to the grocery store, et cetera.
Bingo.
If I'm out in the backyard here, or we're in our house, or whatever, no.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. But we have a
real problem, though. We have so much community spread now that, and Thanksgiving, you're going to see this whole thing blow up in about 2 or 3 weeks, because what people did is people got together for Thanksgiving, and it may have been only families, but there's a lot of really big families around that. And if the families came from Twin, and they came from Burley, and they came from Rupert, and a couple showed up from Pocatello or wherever, and there was 20 of them in the house for Thanksgiving, I'm sorry, but that was wrong. Amy and I stayed in our house here by ourselves this year, the first time we've ever done that we didn't have a bunch of family around. But that's the only way that you can actually stop it. There are a few inconveniences that you have to do, but that doesn't affect the economy. You can keep the economy going dang near 100%. Okay? But there's a few common sense things that you got to do. And yes, nobody likes being alone on Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever. But there are a few things like that we do have to do, Zeb.
Okay, but now that leads us into the topic that I wanted to talk to you about, and that's governor or gubernatorial powers. As we looked across from Cuomo in New York to Newsom in California, Inslee, etc., it's not government powers, it's almost like a dictatorship, and that's my concern, that governors have far exceeded their powers and the Constitution. Would you agree or disagree?
Well, I think we have to put that into context, because I can agree and disagree on various parts of it. And as you and I had a brief conversation, I wish we had a whole hour just to sit and you and I talk about this for the listeners. But this is going to be a major issue before the Idaho legislature when this comes up. Gubernatorial power. Now, to put this into context, almost all of the statutes associated with emergency powers for the governor was put into place under the thinking of a military emergency. And a lot of them were revised in the early 1960s when everybody was concerned about nuclear war or an invasion of a foreign force into the United States and into the state of Idaho. So almost all of the emergency powers that were granted are written up in the military concept of armed conflict. There are some emergency powers associated with public health districts. That's not really worked out very well. And that certainly needs to be revisited. As I spoke to you before, I think this whole thing needs to be reviewed. I'm not so sure that any of the powers that the governor has associated with armed conflict, armed insurrection, civil war where Americans are killing one another, etc., I suspect we probably have the appropriate powers in place for that and the appropriate statutory language for that. But when we're talking about pandemics of multiple kinds and other maybe natural disasters where there are no armed conflict or anything, and everybody's actually trying to do the right thing and pushing in the same direction, then I have to wonder, I'm not sure we've got the right statutory language. I think the legislature needs to be more involved in that, etc. So that's just 100,000-foot level of what I'm thinking. To speak to the other side of that, Zeb, throughout history, everybody has always understood that you have one commanding general on the battlefield, and only one. You don't have a committee or anything else. You have a single commanding general on the battlefield. Legislatures are supposed to be and designed to be deliberative bodies. They're not supposed to make quick decisions. They're supposed to weigh various factors and then over time come up with the appropriate language of how something is supposed to proceed. I suspect that if you tried to get the legislature involved with this current pandemic, there would be, we'd still be arguing about it if we'd have started last March, to be perfectly honest with you, and probably wound up with no more knowledge of what to do. So getting the legislature involved at an appropriate time for an appropriate emergency, I think is a good idea, and we don't have that language in place at this point in time.
But, and again, I'm not trying to beat the dead horse here, but wouldn't a session where you have to come up and define that language for the citizens of Idaho, that's going to take basically the bulk of the legislative session, would it not?
It would, and I don't think doing that actually during a pandemic would be the appropriate time to do that. The appropriate time to do that is not this legislative session. We need to have a short, precise, efficient legislative session this time and then get the heck out of town. But as soon as we get enough people vaccinated, et cetera, and this thing quiets down, like a session or two from now, that would be the time to sit and deliberately, in a deliberative manner, when people are calmed down and personalities are no longer involved, et cetera, then you can say, okay, we need to review the governor's the gubernatorial powers granted to the governor in the state of Idaho, and how do we need to change this?
Fred, we have a caller with a question or a comment. Caller, quickly, you're on the air. Go ahead, please. And they are not there. Let me ask you this, Fred. With all the different items that are going to be thrown on the table for the legislators to make decisions on in January, how's everything going to get done in a short, maybe 2 to 3 month session? I just don't see it happening.
Well, typically we have an 80-day session. So that's the standard session in modern times. Actually, I think it's about 78 days. That's normal. Constitutionally, the only thing that is required of the legislature is to show up in Boise and set the state budget for the next year. Now, we could do that in 2 weeks. Okay? Constitutionally, that is our only requirement. No other requirements constitutionally.
I see.
So, given that, I have argued to leadership that we really need to make a decision come about the 1st of January when we have an idea of what the pandemic is going to be like for the month of January and February. One, whether or not we should postpone the session for a month or two, or if we are going to go ahead, then why don't we just accomplish our constitutional requirement and then wait until a time that is more conducive to better health for the members, et cetera, and then have an abbreviated session at that point in time. I don't know what's going to happen, Zeb. That's just me putting my 2 cents worth into leadership. But I don't think leadership's going to make any kind of a decision at all until probably around January the 1st.
Okay.
A lot of things can happen between now and then with this pandemic.
Absolutely. We have another call with a question. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air. Quickly.
Well, quick question and comment. The session that will happen, like Scott Bedke told me, this stuff we've never been through this, and the governor, we're going to have to get a handle on this situation. And, I know how you feel about it, Fred, and I may or may not agree with you, but that's all right. We don't have to, be enemies or anything. But when we're talking about a mask, and we're talking about the pandemic in general, so we're talking about masks because we're supposed to be told that they're helping. Well, a dirty mask is worse than no mask at all. And the only mask that works is an N95 mask, which nobody has. And so if you're wearing a dirty mask around, 80% of the people that wear a mask get COVID. And so it seems to me like we would have been better off if we would have just let this thing run its course. And if you're concerned and worried, then you should go out into public only if you feel like it, but you should be wearing an N95 mask. An N95 mask should be changed every 30 minutes, scrubbed, cleaned, however you do. But these other masks, people are just wearing stuff over their face like cloth. It's not working. Coronavirus is the size of a softball, and the restriction in a regular mask is the size of Texas. Coronavirus is the size of a softball. The restriction in a regular mask is the size of Texas. This ain't working. We need to be done. We need to let people go and be done with this. I'm hanging up.
Respond to the caller, please, Fred, if you would.
Well, first of all, several things. If you remember correctly what I said, Zeb, you have to wear an appropriate mask appropriately. I think the caller is misinformed about some things. And the first of all is what is an appropriate mask? An appropriate mask is one that covers your entire face, and almost all masks commercially that you buy are not big enough to cover most adult faces. A double-layer cotton mask that covers the entire face that can be sealed, if both people are wearing the mask, you reduce transmission of this virus 99.3%. That's been proven scientifically, Zeb. Hardly anybody is wearing their masks appropriately. They're just simply not doing that. The biggest problem you can't let a pandemic like this rage is you are overrunning your healthcare system. Now, you got to remember that we've got a couple of treatments that have actually been proven in clinical trials to not only reduce hospital stay, but to reduce mortality. And one of them is remdesivir, which is an antiviral agent, and the other ones newly on the scene are monoclonal antibodies. And both of them have been proven to reduce hospitalizations and to reduce mortality rates. You can't overwhelm your healthcare system. The problem now is we've got so many healthcare workers that actually have COVID and are no longer eligible to work in the workforce that we can't even fill up all of our hospitals because we simply don't have the staff to take care of it. The whole idea here is to try to get through this with the least amount of fatalities that we can have. And we're not doing a very good job of that.
Real quick.
So you can't just let this pandemic rage. Secondly, our next is we've got one vaccine that's expected to be approved this week and another one that's expected to be approved in about 3 weeks. And by March, there should be 60 or 70 million doses of vaccine available. So we will start having a significant blunting effect on the pandemic.
Okay. We've got another call, and caller, I'm out of time. Real fast with your question.
I don't want to change the subject, but this probably could be included into the same subject. The virus is one thing. The other thing that I'm concerned about is if Biden should look out and be our president. Are you fellows, when you meet, do you discuss things like this and what action you would take if what he says he's going to do? It pays to think ahead, and I hope that you guys are talking about this or even meeting. I don't care. You don't need to tell the public if you're meeting about it or not. But the states are United States. They're individual individual states, if he tries things like what he says he's going to do, then those states are individual governed.
I appreciate your call. I've got to interrupt, caller. I'm out of time. I'm going to have Fred respond real quick, and then I've got to wrap it up. Fred, real fast, please.
Well, state legislatures actually have no authority when it comes to federal law or federal constitutional issues. Caller should remember that there's 3 levels of government in the United States, and there's always has been, and they're fairly delineated in their responsibilities and authority: the federal government, the state government, and local government. And there's not a lot that the states can do, because what the states have to do is then countermand Congress, actually, because all of the authority to make laws is in Congress. The president doesn't have anything to do with that other than to sign it or not sign it. So there's not much the states are going to do with respect to that.
Fred, I want to thank you for coming on the program. There's still a lot of questions I'd like to ask. I'm going to call you after I get off the air or tomorrow and try to reschedule. I just want to give you a little warning. When you cut the cake tomorrow, don't cut your finger at your birthday party.
I'll try not to do that, Zeb.
All right.
Thank you so much.
God bless. Have a good day. Representative Fred Wood. And I really would like to have him back real soon so we can continue our conversation about vaccines and everything else, but I'm flat out of time. Before I send it back over to our main studios, I want to remind everybody, Merry Christmas wishes from AMI at 719 Overland Avenue in Burley. Don't forget, look for the big 28-foot wrench over the door and go nuts over their bolts. And I'm telling you what, these are good people. Alan, Corey, Eric, Rob, the rest of the crew at AMI wishing you a very Merry Christmas. Magic Valley Irrigation, 44 East, 500 South of Burley. Don't forget, 678-3101. Jeff and his great crew, they know irrigation upside, down, and everything else. Boy, they can help you with your irrigation needs. Call them at 678-3101. Magic Valley Irrigation wishing you a very Merry Christmas. Along with Baker Brothers Pump Service. These guys are good. 103 West, 500 South of Burley, 678-9042. They are Magic Valley's fastest and most reliable pump service company, Baker Brothers Pump Service. And, of course, our dear friend Senator Kelly Anthon, District 27. He is so grateful to serve the Mini-Cassia area, and he appreciates all of his constituents. And Senator Kelly Anthon wishes you and your family a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Right now, we'll send it back over to our main studio. We'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
And I thank you very much for staying tuned. Zeb Bell at Zeb at the Ranch. And on Mondays, we always listen to Deb Hines at Minidoka Animal Control, along with our friends at Wagon Tails Rescue, and we find out all about the canines and the puppies and all the dogs that are looking for some great homes during this time of the year. Good morning, Deb Hines. How are you?
I'm good, Zeb. How are you doing?
I'm cold. I hate cold weather. I don't want anything to do with it, and thank you for asking.
What, you don't like our sweat to death, freeze to death in the first 48 hours of your life? I don't understand.
I'm an old man, and the colder temperatures do not bode well for me to have a smile on my face. However, every day when you go to your office, Minidoka Animal Control, I'll bet you it's heartwarming to have all those little furry friends say hello to you, and you're doing the best you can to find them new homes. Tell us a little bit about what's going on this week.
Well, my Border Collie Cross pups are getting ready to go bye-bye. So
Good.
If anybody wants to look at one of those and let me know which one they want, they can take it home within the next 10 days.
Okay.
I've got another husky in, big fat boy, so he's been taken care of. I don't know. He came out of Hayburn. I don't know anything about him, Zeb.
Okay.
And he's super nice, gets along with the other dogs. I don't know if he's house-trained or not. I haven't heard, but he's a sweet dog.
You know, let me stop right there. Those dogs are worth a lot of money, and was he just brought in and dropped off, or what's the story there?
Well, according to the people in Hayburn, he was out just kind of wandering around, and so they picked him up, like they're supposed to.
Yeah.
They thought they knew where he lived, but nobody's there, so I got him.
Oh, my.
And I haven't heard from anybody over there about him, but he's a neat dog. He's not tiny in any sense of the word, but he's also not an abusive type. You know what I mean?
Yep.
He's just a dead dog, as we say.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think Huskies, they're one of my very favorite breeds of dogs. And, I don't care if he's chubby like I am. Boy, if you make a friend of a Husky, they're your friend for life.
Yeah, they're super good dogs, and they are super, super protective. They're kind of like a pit bull in that respect.
Okay, what do you call him?
But anyway, he's a good boy. I'd like to get him into home. I don't want to keep any of these guys, and you know this, any longer than I have to.
Right. What's this Husky's name? What did you name him?
What did we name that Husky? What we named him?
The big one?
Yeah.
The one you just named him?
Yeah.
I haven't named him yet.
We haven't named him yet.
Well,
That's how busy we've been.
Well, we just did. I'm going to name him Newly, from the guy that was the gunsmith on Gunsmoke.
Okay, that'll work.
Newly, okay.
We can do that.
All right.
Get there, we'll get it on the paperwork.
Oh, okay.
Also, I have got Idaho Fuzzies.
What's that?
I've got two females.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah, what's an Idaho Fuzzy?
Okay, it is an Airedale, Border Collie, Australian Shepherd. I think there's a little healer in there, cross, but they were originally breeding in Oakley.
Oh,
I
my.
think other people have started to breed them now, but they're a cow dog.
Really?
Oh, they're so neat.
And they've got a family...
I've got one in there that is the first one I have ever seen that's red and white.
Oh, my
Black
goodness.
and white or gray and white.
Oh, my goodness. And they're called Idaho Fuzzies.
Yeah,
Okay.
an Idaho Fuzzy.
How big will they get?
They'll get to be about the same size as a border. They don't get very big.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see them on these trucks, they look like, what are they called? That other stupid curly dog. That, anyway, they don't, unless you know what they are, you don't know what they are until you've seen them.
I see. Now, are these...
Two of them in.
Are they both puppies?
No, these girls might be maybe a year, so
Okay.
they're still trainable as all get out. They're
Okay.
super smart.
Okay.
My friend has two of them, and he taught them both to climb a tree. What's that all about? But anyway, yeah, they're super, super nice, loyal, sweet dogs.
It's amazing that your friend would teach them to climb a tree. I mean, they're going to spend the rest of their life really mentally maladjusted thinking they're a bird.
Oh, that's why he taught him that, to get the birds away from his house. I went, Zach, what are you, nuts?
Oh, my. I can just see you calling the fire department and telling them instead of a cat in the tree, you've got a 90-pound dog.
Yeah, figure that one out.
Yeah, really. Oh, my. So you've got Newly the Husky, and you've got a couple of Idaho Fuzzies, correct?
Correct.
Okay. You know, Deb, let me ask you...
We've named these girls. I just am not in my office right now. I'm out in the sequel looking for dogs, so
Okay.
I can't remember their names. But let me tell you, that red one, if I didn't have a dog already, would be at my house in a heartbeat.
Oh, my.
It's pretty.
Let me ask you this. What about people without the collars, etc.? Isn't there a law about having identification or something on these dogs? Do you know anything about that you could share with my audience?
Yes. Yeah, the state stipulates that every dog owner follow their city or county ordinance And every city and county has a dog tag
Okay.
stipulation.
All right.
Everybody that has a dog should have a tag on their dogs so that and it helps us.
Absolutely.
Because I have a computer data bank, and when I have dog tags, I can look up the tag number and find the owner and get the dog home.
Absolutely. But now, that's not that expensive to get all that taken care of, is it?
No, it's $15.
Oh, my goodness, yeah. But I'm really concerned.
And the other thing that they can do is, now, we can chip them. This is not a GPS chip.
I see.
They don't have those yet, but I can chip those dogs because I carry a reader in my pickup. I've got one in the office, and all of vets have them, and we can scan them, and again, get right to the owner. And that's something that if somebody's going to steal your dog, they can't take that out. It's embedded in the skin, under the skin, in the neck.
Yeah. You know, let me ask you this. This is the time of year for giving, and it's the time of year to kind of warm people's hearts with all kinds of great gift giving, but I don't think giving puppies or cats or anything like that is a smart idea unless the owners have a chance with some say in the initial purchase and or adoption. Would you agree with that or not?
100%. In fact, I'll be honest with you, Zeb, that is why I have a policy at the shelter, and I have had it for years. We do not adopt puppies out in December because I get them back in January.
I see. Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me.
I mean, if I know the people and know that this is going to be a long-term thing, that's one thing. But when you come in there and it's like my kid wants a pup, it's like,
yeah.
No.
Well, you know, what would you suggest to people? I mean, there's families that are listening right now that absolutely they may have lost their pet or maybe something happened. They've never had a pet before. What would you tell families? This is a good time of the year to kind of say, you know what, we'd like to have a dog for our family. And the three dogs that you were talking about, Newly the Husky and then also these Idaho Fuzzies, how would they be best suited? As country dogs, or what do you suggest?
Yeah, they'll do. The Fuzzies definitely will do better in the country, but you know, the Husky, he's going to need places to run, but if you've got a fenced yard and you pay attention to him, he's going to be fine. As long as you've got a fenced yard. The Fuzzies, once they get their territory under their belt, they're going to never go anywhere.
Okay.
They are total loyal dogs, I mean, seriously. And I just remembered the black and white female is only 10 months old and she's already spayed.
Okay. Now, I want you to reiterate again I want you to say it again this week, because since you and I talked last week, the temperatures are getting down into the teens, and I really want you to amplify one more time the need for shelter, straw, warm water, that type of thing. Go ahead if you would, please.
Yeah, please, people, make sure your dogs have plenty of cover. Make sure that they've got warm water. They've got to be able to get out of this weather, and they need some place where they can curl up and stay warm at night, because we're going to lose these guys to freezing.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter whether it's cat, dog, horse, cow, whatever.
That's right. And water. It's not that expensive to go get an electric water.
And a place to be where they can stay warm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, quickly, before we leave, let's talk about some other really good folks, and that's the Wagon Tails Rescue. Tell us a little bit about them as we end the segment.
Okay. Wagon Tails is our sponsor for spay and neuters. They give us one free one with each adoption each month. They also work with us so that we can get your animal spay or neutered, whether it's a cat or a dog, for $25. All you have to do is call and give us your name and address and all that kind of stuff. It's all done by donations, so we don't get it done like within the next 5 seconds, but believe you me, we will get that done as fast as we can, and I think everybody should be able to for $25, which is a whole lot cheaper than trying to raise a pup.
There you go. And I can tell you firsthand experience, you are 100% right. But, Deb, I thank you on behalf of Minidoka Animal Control. You're doing a great job over there. And, ladies and gentlemen, the dogs that we featured today were 2 Idaho Fuzzies and a husky named Newly. So, Deb, tell us the numbers and the times they can come over and give you a call.
Okay, they can call us at 208-438-2200. And we're there from 8 to 1, Monday through Friday, and 8 to noon on Saturdays. And that's as much as I can tell you.
There you go.
We're 50 West, 200 South, and if you don't put it in the right way, trust me, you'll end up in a secret looking for a dog that ain't there.
Hey, listen, I can say this now because it's the time of the season. Merry Christmas. We'll talk to you next Monday. Thank you.
Okay, you have a great week.
Thanks, Deb. Deb Hines with Minidoka Animal Control, and the dogs this week again, 2 Idaho Fuzzies, and great husky, sounds beautiful, named Newly, so you check that out. Right now, it's time for the weather, and the weather is brought to you by Scarrow's Meats. Oh, Don Scarrow and the crew, they have the best of meats, and this is the season right now. All the smoked turkeys, and of course all the prime rib, and all the hams, and all the gift boxes. There's a gift-giving idea. Don't forget to get a hold of Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Telephone number 324-7657. Or you can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. Delicious meats from Scarrow's Meats in Jerome. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Welcome back to another work week and the last day in November, and weather going to feel a little winter-ish. We are expecting a slight chance of snow showers by later this afternoon, but it is going to be mostly sunny skies, expecting a high of 46. Those snow showers could last through early this evening. They're going to be tapering off overnight. We are expecting a low right around 23. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, high of 36, with an overnight low of 16. By Wednesday, pretty much the same, sunny and 36. That's look at your weather for Zed at the Rain.
Thank you, Gina, and brought to everybody this morning by our dear friends at Scarrow's Meats. Hello, Don, and the rest of the folks over there. They've got it all. They've got all the bacons in different flavors, and they've got all the sausages and the brats. Oh, love their brats. And, of course, like I said, this is the season for the smoked turkeys, the hams, everything at Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. The telephone number, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. I've got time for a couple of calls. Please, I would love to visit with you. I hope your Thanksgiving was phenomenal and fantastic and safe, and I'd like to hear from you. So give me a jingle on the landline right now at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. It wasn't that many weeks ago, and I want you to take down this address. Please, I'm asking for your help right now, that we had Chuck Driscoll on our program, and Chuck, of course, is the Veteran Service Officer for the Minnecasia Veteran Service Office. And Chuck was on the program, and I mentioned it a couple of times after that, but we have so many veterans in hospitals and other locales here in the Magic Valley that they might not have family. They might not have friends every day that are calling them up and wishing them well. And here's what I want you to do. Please, if you would do this to help me, it'd be really appreciated. I want you to take the time and the effort to write a little note or maybe a Christmas card and say, "Dear Veteran," and what other verbiage you want to put on the card, feel free to do so, thanking them for their service to the United States. And send this to Chuck Driscoll, P.O. Box 545, Burley, Idaho, okay? And once again, Chuck Driscoll, Minidoka, Cassia County Veteran Service Officer, P.O. Box 545 in Burley. And what he'll do, he'll take all of those cards and letters and pass them around to all the veterans that he sees and can make a visit to. So do that so we can make sure that our veterans that live here in this area know that we appreciate their service and we're giving them well wishes for a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Deanne, you have a note for me, and I can't read a word on there. Okay, he says it's too long, did you say?
No, just stay.
No, never mind. We'll work on that after the program. Thank you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, Zeb, speaking of the election, which isn't over with, and Trump, he should never concede until we know for certain.
Absolutely not.
75 million people plus
Yep.
that are saying, you know, we went and supported you, and we expect you to lead us, and we expect you to fight till the bitter end, because it's either Trump wins or we start to destruct our foundation of our country. We watched Obama do it for 8 years, and the things they did to pass Obamacare were nothing short of criminal, and they're up to it again. And you know, I'd like to think that our president is going to stand firm, because whether or not if he does pull it off, there's going to be a reaction from the left. But that's exactly what they want us to believe, and I guess we'll have to deal with it. But it would be better to it would be better to save our country and keep going where we were headed than where we might be with Biden and China. Biden and China is a combination for disaster, and let alone all the rest of it.
Well, let me just jump in here and say this to you, Randy, and I mentioned this last week on our program, that I'm going to really watch how I say this and promote this, and I think you'll concur with me, that number one, I will not support or underwrite or fall in lockstep with anything that the Biden administration says or does that is against our Constitution. That I'm really going to be watching. If they try to do things, pass things, try to have executive orders, etc., or some kind of a revocation of our guaranteed constitutional rights, I will not support him, and I will condemn that administration. I am going to be very watchful on this program to let you and all my listeners know what they are doing or not doing that is absolutely against our Constitution.
Well, this is the thing. I'm a crepe on Rish, and I'm going to tell them they need to be on this program and others every week, telling us how they're trying to stop it. If Biden gets elected, we need to know what they're going to do to stop this.
Absolutely.
Because I remember in 08, 09, 10, especially when they jammed, health care down our throat, and how the price of gas was so terrible that if you would get on the freeway and it was like sparse. There was nobody doing anything. And they sure weren't traveling on vacations. There was no travel trailers, nobody going anywhere. All you saw was trucks and essential vehicles because everybody was hunkered down.
That's right.
To figure out how they were going to survive it.
That's right.
And I do not want to go through $5 a gallon diesel again.
Well, let me tell you something. I think we're going to look back in the not too many months ahead, and we're going to wish we had $5 diesel. I think we're going to see exorbitant prices with the acceptance of green energy programs to get rid of and go away from anything with fossil fuels. And you can bet your bottom pair of tennis shoes that John Kerry is going to do all he can to take away from the American public the freedom of being able to communicate by driving.
This is the thing. You know, the producers are out working, and the chiseling, cheating liars are sitting in their house on their phone. And I say to myself, you know, it's a terrible shame. All the good people of this country want is some justice.
Yep. I agree with you, Randy. Randy, I'm out of time, but I want to tell you your heartfelt thoughts are always appreciated. Thank you so much.
You bet.
God bless you, man. Thanks. We are almost out of time, and I want to tell everybody about our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations that are serving you. Don't forget the best of tires, all the different tread designs, all the sizes for all vehicles. And don't forget, too, the best in brake service with highly trained brake technicians, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries. That's the key in this cold weather, man. I'll tell you what. Cold weather, getting down there into the teens, you could very easily have a day off that you don't want to have a day off because your vehicle's not going to start and you're not going to get to work. So check out all the batteries at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. James in Buell, Dan on Poline in Twin, Lane in Rupert, Mike in Jerome, Dave on Blue Lakes in Twin Falls, the Twist family in Paul, my buddy Trent on Overland in Burley. The best. All the locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. That's it for today. What have we got cooking for tomorrow on the program? Oh, boy, we've got a lady that's coming on at 10:30 that really tells it like it is. Cheryl Chumley's coming back on the show. She was on about a month ago. We've got Dan Kish with the American Energy Alliance. We've got an attorney with the Pacific Legal Foundation. And, of course, we've got my old buddy, Dr. History, tomorrow. All of that and more on Zeb at the Ranch. Our Bible passage for today fits right into our political situation, and I'd like to give that to you right now. It's from 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 8 and 9. We are pressed on every side by troubles, but not crushed and broken. We are perplexed because we don't know why things happen as they do, but we don't give up. And we do not quit. We are hunted down, but God never abandons us. We get knocked down, but we get up again and keep going. The way things were, the way things ought to be. And never forget the 4 words that mean the most to me. In God we trust. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 8:06. Have a good day.